Waffle just disappeared.
Disappeared.
He said whoops though. So
You're right. He'll be back.
You're coming back.
all right,
And we're Lobster.
Huh?
we're live.
And we're live.
I have a live studio audience,
We're
just so
doing
you
that
know.
right
Yes,
now.
you do.
We're doing that right
We're
now.
on
CJ, we're
we're
doing
on Lux Vision Studios, um, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook.
CJ, we're doing that
Yeah,
right now, right?
yeah, we're live right now.
Tumblr,
Yeah, we're
Live
live
Journal,
right now. CJ, you
MySpace.
get on my nerves.
Basically.
CJ just throws it at me in my damn face. We're live right now.
Hmm.
Okay, so here we go. And Jen just jumps on the stage like we're not live right now. Like,
Classic Jen.
right, Jen. Oh, well, we're live right now. Oh, hi. Okay, so we're here. We're here. Let's do this now. Since you want to just, yeah, throw the damn thing in my face. Good evening. My two guests, if I can get you guys to step right here on the yellow portion area. I know y'all want to be close and all, but yeah, I don't need y'all that close to me. No, it's fine. So,
Oh, I had no idea there was two of us.
Oh, hello. Oh,
um,
wow.
good evening, everybody. Thank you guys for coming through, and being part of the show. I am your boy, Burden of Proof. This is Ask the Q, Speak Your Truth. Um, I want to say, first of all, thank you for everyone who came and was a part of last week's show. Thank you, Miss Jen Smash, Lacey, in addition to Sir Hops, and everybody is contributing who is contributing to better servicing people who have loss of limbs and things like that. In addition to the Amputee Coalition, again, if you guys want to be want to assist those people, Jen Smash has a wealth of resources that she can assist you with. Jen has been very busy in this metaverse right now. I'm just gonna
Oh, sorry.
pull the hat out the bag. I don't know how many hip hop historians or hip hop heads we have in the audience, but some of you guys might know a gentleman by the name of Little C's. Jen Smash has been very aggressive in ensuring that he's made his way into the Horizon world, into the metaverse, and she's actually had him on a show, and she has graced me enough to allow him to be a part of this show on the 31st. So definitely look forward to that particular show with Little C's. Jen, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you in everything that you do. You already know that. Um, she's not just somebody that I deal with here in Metaverse, but in real life as well, just not in person just yet. But we're working on that. Before we start the show, I just wanted to just touch on one particular topic that's been making a lot of headlines and things like that. And that's the young lady Sonya Massey. I think this happened in Chicago, Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. This woman was shot and killed in her own home by an officer who's sworn to serve and protect. I don't know. The video is out right now and things like that. I don't know how many of you guys have actually watched the video and things like that. I don't know how much I can say in regards to this particular topic because um, YouTube silenced like 20 minutes of the last show because I was speaking about Trump. So I'm kind of very trying to be very selective about my words right now. But just in regards to us as a culture, I would just like to say that it just seems like these situations arise or are broadcasted um, a lot or every time during the election year. They throw out or they make us watch one particular incident that emotionally charges us, and we go into this whole protest rally slogan type situation, and we do exactly what they're looking for in regards to politically going to the polls or not going to the polls. And I don't know what the resolution is in regards to getting to a better understanding or better justice for us as people. But I would love for us to um, change the narrative, if you will, in regards to what we do as a culture when these type of things happen, when we know they happen each and every day, we just don't see it on a daily basis, and they pick and choose when to show it to us. I think as a culture, we can do a lot more than just show aggression and be emotionally charged. I would love for us to try to come together and utilize our strengths in much better places, especially in regards to how it affects us as people politically. So I would just say, let's, as a culture, if we can just wake up a little bit, and just pay attention to the signs. We know what happens in this country. We just don't see it on a regular basis, but we know it happens. So let's not be so overly emotional anymore, and let's start attacking the problem politically and in the polls and locally with our votes and things to that nature. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Um, Today's particular show, a lot is going on in Horizon World, as you guys know, I'm sure. Um, so much to where even I'm confused to a certain extent as to the vision of Horizon World. Where is it going? How is it getting there? What's new to come? And why are there so many bugs kicking my worlds behind, so to speak, in certain instances? So I know a lot of you guys don't have access to these discords and things like that. So many other people who are monetized and things of that nature have. So I did my best to bring two two of two of my guys that I hold in high regard within this space. Mr. Habador and Wafflecopter is here today to hopefully answer some questions and shed light on some of the things that you guys as a community might have. So I want to say one Habador and Wafflecopter, I want to say thank you guys for coming to the show. I appreciate it. And before we get kick this off, one by one, if you guys can introduce yourselves and let the people know who you are.
Great.
Okay, do me a favor, Habit, before you start. Go down, come back up.
All right.
There we go.
I'm a habiter. I started working in Horizon Worlds probably about three to somewhere between 3 and 4 years ago. I have been developing content on the platform. Basically, as soon as I got on the platform in 2021, I won the Spring Jam 2021, and from there I moved into doing Horizon full time. And that's what I do now is as I consult with other studios that are building Meta Horizon content, and in addition to my own monetized content. If you haven't seen Plants, go see Plants. Shameless self plug there.
Get it out. Get it out.
New expansion coming this week. Yeah, so I am very, very involved in Horizon. Horizon is my livelihood. It is how I put food on my table, put a roof over my head. I came up from the community. I care very much about the community. And I'm really excited to be here and help support my friend Burden, who I think has always done an amazing job of leading these discussions.
Appreciate you, sir. Waffle.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Wafflecopters. I've been making content in VR since I think 2017. Even way before Horizon Worlds. I've been in Horizon Worlds since the start. I mostly make escape room puzzles. I've made one or two other things like Zap Zap or whatever words. Mostly just like making puzzles. Pretty active in the Horizon community, especially on Discord. One thing to flag is the main Discord is open to anyone. Anyone can join the Meta Horizon Worlds Discord. It is a good place to see what people are talking about. Sometimes Meta employees will speak up, and so you can put Discord even just on a phone. So I would definitely encourage everyone to join the main Discord. And then, full disclosure, I used to work at Meta. I actually used to be on the Horizon team. It's been a few years, so now I'm just kind of a creator. I don't do this full time. It's just a very large hobby, but like what Habitar said, it's my life. It's where my friends are, my social life, and all that. And yeah, also glad to be here today.
If you don't mind me asking, sir, before we
I
get
mind. No, I'm just kidding.
What made you not really disassociate from Meta, but what made you quit the team?
I mean, I was at Facebook. I technically never worked at Meta. They renamed it after I left. I was there for 10 years. It's a good long time to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was making puzzles and content in my free time. And I was excited about the idea of doing it a lot more. And so now I do some Horizon, I do some kind of independent contracting work, but I now spend my life a lot more just kind of like open ended creative and just wanted to try that out for a while. When I was working at Meta, I'd work like 8 to 6 and then go home, eat dinner, and go into VR until 2 a.m. and that's and repeat. And it's like, hey, it's a lot. So I kind of was like, let's do one of these for a while. And so I left to just try being more of an independent creator for a while. And it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming through and sharing your wisdom with the community. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said before, I'm sure you guys have tons of questions. I know I do. I don't want to ask too many right now. I'm definitely going to
All right,
leave.
see you then.
I'm gonna leave the floor. The floor is you guys. Again, I really tried to create this and organize this for you guys because, again, like I said, there's a lot of things going on within Horizon World that a lot of you guys may not be knowledgeable of or privy to. But like you said, the main Discord within Horizon is public, is open to the public. But by all means, if you guys have questions in regards to anything involving Meta or Horizon, the floor is yours. Please ask away. Maddie.
I see someone coming down.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Mm.
I mean, I was, but I wasn't. I was distracted. Wafflecopter. What's up? Shout out to Lux Productions, by the way. Anyway, I really Wafflecopter. I love the puzzle worlds. I mean, Caddy and I are just absolutely all over puzzle worlds all the time. I love the beginning of Starship Survivor. Is that what it was called? Kat?
Survival. Yep.
Yeah, Survival. Yeah. I mean,
I
it
played that
reminded us
one.
of like the beginning of Arkanoid, where you're like do 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 do. You know, what I'm talking about with the ball and the brick. The whole beginning story that was great. Is there a theme for an escape room that you've always wanted to touch on inside of here, but for whatever restrictive reasons, we know the glitches, we know the bugs, capacity issues and stuff that you just didn't get a chance to get out there?
Nope.
Thank you.
So
Love these questions.
yeah, I mean, on a roll already. But I mean, just to add a little bit more, the uh, in my worlds I build, some of the scripting is a little bit intricate and stuff, but I really like to find ideas that feel more pure and kind of simple, and there's not a lot of bells and whistles. And so I often, when I have the ideas for my worlds, it's not really a question of like, can this be scripted in Horizon or does Horizon have the features? I usually end up with more of the question of like, is there a puzzle here people will find fun? Like, is there good puzzle design here? The If anyone has played Tower of Reflection, that bumped into Horizon's limits all the time. There was like a 6 month period where we just stopped working on it because it would just like randomly crash the whole app. So I've had issues where I kind of like bump into bugs and stuff, but I personally don't think it's a good use of time to spend a lot of time noodling on stuff you can't build anyway. So, I kind of look at what's possible with Horizon and spend my time ideating on what can you do with that. And yeah, just spend a lot of time being pretty practical so I don't bump into that.
Awesome. Anybody? The floor is yours. I'm gonna sit here. If you look,
For me, riddles are very performant, so I don't ever run into any problems.
Yeah, cool. See you later.
right? Hi, Southern.
Hello. I have a question for Wafflecopter. I know you just said that you started going independent. what are some tips and tools that you can give to someone who is going on a path of being independent and also selling goods here or assets or scripts or whatnot?
Hmm. Yeah, I'll answer that briefly, and then I'm going to actually hand it over to someone who's going to give you a much better answer to that. Um, this guy. So Horizon is a piece of what I do, and so my career was in software engineering, programming, and so a lot of what I do right now is projects of like with that contracting and stuff, but actually not related to Horizon, so more helping different companies and stuff. So I think that's quite different. um and so like I do have some thoughts I can share on that, but with that context, I'd like to hand it up over to Habador, who basically, has made this the full-time focus, built up a team, really tried to go from like metaverse as like a, after dinner hobby to really is a career. And so he's going to actually be better to answer your question.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to bring up waffles in a moment here in my answer, but essentially when I started, so first of all, when I in 2021, I had started doing scripting work for hire. Essentially, I was doing a lot of work between creators, but what I was looking for was how do I get to the next level? How do I get to like where like the real money is? Because when you think about who your customers are, right? Like you have to make money somewhere, and the reality is that this is very different than this is very different than what it was in 2021. In 2021, nobody was monetized, right? So it was like people who I was making money off of were people who were like basically betting on Horizon. But I was working with a couple like larger studios, and I was doing some scripting work. I was putting together some groups, and essentially I was making about 80% of what I was making at my day job at the time. Um, and I went to I like was doing the math. I really wanted to be doing VR full time because I was basically working 80 hours a week. And I went to Waffle and I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about going full time in VR. Do you think it's a good idea?" And what he said to me is like, "Well, if you're making 80% of what you're making at your day job, do you think that if you were to spend your full time on this, that you would make up the other 20%? And where would you make that up? And like make a plan for that and think about it." And at the time, I felt that I could make that up, and I had about a year's worth of money in the bank to just live off of just in case. So my advice for anyone who is thinking about making the transition to doing it in the metaverse, um, first of all, it's very difficult. I know that there are people who do it. It's easier if you're monetized because, like, if you are monetized and have a world that goes viral, like, obviously that's going to bring in money and that will help you. But that's not a long term plan, right? Like, you can't depend on that. So, what you want to do is you want to think about what your business is, who your clients are, what the longevity of your clients are, like do they make sense, are they other creators in the space, how are they paying you, how are they making their money, or are you getting involved with 2P studios, are you getting involved directly with Meta, how do you do that, how do you get into those spaces? um, and I'm not going to lie to you, it's not easy, and I don't recommend most people to do it, because it is like very very high risk. It's very very um, nerve wracking to basically be betting your lifestyle on Horizon Worlds. And so what you need to do is you need to look at what you're making, and like if you're selling real goods in Horizon, more power to you. Like I don't even know how I would begin to do that. But if you're selling services like you know programming or art or DJing or like promotion is really big, like important in Horizon. It's really hard to like get your world out there to people. If you get good at promotion, that's a very marketable skill. um but yeah, to answer the question, like how do you do that, you just work really hard, like, and you hope it works out. Like, you get lucky, I guess, and you run into the right person, and they happen to have work for you, and they connect you to more people, and it's not easy, and it's not guaranteed. You're taking a risk. The biggest thing that I'll say is don't do it if you don't have money in the bank. Don't do
Mm.
it if you don't have a safety net. And I would say that for any entrepreneurial thing, it's like, don't get me wrong, like, I have a high tolerance for risk. I very much, like, believe in myself. I believe in the people that I work with. But I still wouldn't have taken that leap if I didn't have a safety net to catch me if it failed, right?
Mm.
Even now, like, if my business were to fail tomorrow, I would still have a safety net, because I'm very careful about, like I'm very cautious about cutting the cord.
Just eat ramen all the time. Um, yeah, I mean, to click into two of the things you mentioned. One I think is very important is being financially careful. I do see a lot of people who are like, I quit my job and I'm all in, and if this doesn't work out, I'm screwed. And I would
Mm.
encourage folks not to put themselves in that position.
Right.
The It's really interesting. I see a lot of people who are aware that quitting their job and trying to start a business is really hard, but then somehow seem to think doing the exact same thing in Horizon is easy. And it's not
Mm.
easy. It's a lot of work. And by the way, I've not made a full business. I'm not claiming I've done this, but like, it's, when you try to start a business, it is
I have,
blood,
and it's
sweat, and
hard.
tears all the time. It is hard. It is work. And like Habitor said, when he came to me and asked my advice, my biggest point was like, do not do it in a place where like failure just destroys everything. Like, find a way to make it part-time or a side hustle or whatever. And so I just encourage anyone who wants to try to make this more their full-time job, try to find a way to have it be extra on top of what you do, and then try to make it more and more. And if at some point in size it's a sizable chunk, leave the first one. Just be very careful. It always makes me feel bad when someone moves into an app like this and then it's hard and that puts a lot of pressure on them. The second
Right.
thing I'll mention is really saying, if you want to succeed in here, that you're starting a business, to encourage folks to take the time to learn more about creating businesses. On YouTube and
Yes.
Google or wherever, you can find a lot about the basics of marketing, or
Project
building a
management.
brand, project management, how to identify your audience, how to identify their needs, how to determine the proper price of a good. Like, there is a lot of this stuff established. And like, my stance is like, if you aren't trying to read what the most brilliant people have already put together, then you're just figuring it all out on your own from scratch, and it's going to take forever.
Mm.
And so yeah, like, definitely, if a person wants to do this full time, then
Mhm.
I would encourage you, of like, you should have an academic study of learning about game design or content design and marketing and business. And some people are gonna get lucky and just be able to kind of like wing it, and it'll work out, but you never want to bet your life on winging it. And so my advice to folks is always, if you want to do something, you want to be the best at it, and then the most is in your control. If you don't try to be the
Mhm.
best at something, do not be surprised when it suddenly feels like it's not in your control.
Yeah.
Mm.
When you look at, like, a platform like YouTube, like, the type of content that is successful is, like Waffle said, it's the best content is successful, and the first content that's successful.
Right.
So if you're not going to make the best version of something, you better make the first version of it, because those are the two elements that are going to lead to successful content.
God. Okay, real quick. We're gonna jump ship real quick, so to speak, and try to warm somebody up to what's going to happen next week on the 31st. Hey, C's. Hey, so just we're gonna warm you up real quick. All I need you to do real quick is go to the box and just say hi to the crowd real quick. Can you handle that, my G? I need you to come to this box over here, right over there where the camera's at. We're gonna just get you warmed up real quick for what's gonna happen next week on the 31st.
I'm not asking nothing, right?
No, you're not asking nothing, sir.
Yeah.
You just did.
Yeah, I hear him loud. He loud. He loud as hell. Yeah, I hear him.
For those who don't know this iconic young man, this is Little C's, aka Caesar Leo, Junior Mafia representative, and then some. As you guys know, he's going to be on the show on the 31st. But before he's on the show next week, he's going to be a part of my guy Sherwin's Horizon Squares. And I just wanted to say, welcome, sir. This is where you're going to be next week on the 31st, just to get a little visual, get your little,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying, get a little warm up real quick. So
Yeah,
you can see.
I was sneak peeking on the side.
Yeah. You see the Jay-Z? You see the Jay-Z?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's fire.
And I'll tell you,
That's
be
what's up.
ready to describe how to translate yourself into a successful business in Horizon Worlds, because that's what this show's all about.
Okay, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
My man.
That's why I'm
my
here.
man.
I ain't coming to this world, man, to be low key. You know what I mean?
All
Real
right.
talk.
Work out next
So,
moves.
I'm glad you said it. So during the duration of the show, I don't know how long you're going to stay or not, but if you have a question, feel free to jump on the box. But I just wanted to make everybody know that the man is in the building, and I wanted to say hello, and can't wait to talk to you next week, sir.
No doubt, no doubt. Pleasure, my brother. You know that.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
For
you.
sure.
Appreciate
You
you.
got it.
Sherwin, you want to plug the show tomorrow real quick, man? Come on, man. Other one.
Well, there's
other
really
one,
not
other
much
one,
to
other one,
plug.
other
We
box,
sold
other box,
out,
other box,
so-
other box, other box.
I was gonna say it's not much to plug because we sold out. So unfortunately, we are sold out. But I think you guys can still watch it on Lux Vision. So if you guys, want to tune in tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern, we will be live. Low C's will be in the center square. We got a dope theme. I'm not gonna say it just yet. You got to be there to find out. And yeah, we can't wait for your show next week too on Wednesday.
Oh
So,
man, you already know. I
tune in,
appreciate you,
y'all.
man.
Tune in.
Appreciate you. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for coming through. Okay, now we're gonna switch gears right back to this Meta Horizon. Real quick question. For those who may not know, or I mean, I'm sure you guys are paying attention. You guys are in build mode heavy, trying to create these worlds and things like that that's going to quote unquote hit the mark and try to generate as much popularity as possible. But just one question that I have is, who is not a target audience of Horizon World?
Who is not?
Who is now?
Who is now? Okay, let's see. Horizon Worlds VR would, I think, basically be focused on the current VR population. It is unlikely anytime soon that you're going to make a world in Horizon that causes a person to buy a headset. It's always possible, but it's probably not likely, which means the worlds you're building are going to go after people who already have headsets. That is some mixture of people who are early tech adopters, some mixture of just kind of socially curious adults. Sometimes people will call those casual gamers, a person who's more likely to buy a Nintendo Switch than an Xbox. And then younger people as well. So I think that's kind of like the people who have the devices. And so I would imagine that's who you see a lot of in Horizon VR. Again, some mixture of younger people, socially interested adults, and then just early tech adopters. With all of the talk about, Horizon going to mobile and that really is going to change things because it means anyone who has a phone can use it, at which point I think there's an open question of who Meta prioritizes first. I would imagine it'd be some mixture of people who already use Facebook and Instagram a lot, because as a company, you go after the users who are already super engaged. And so that's probably going to be middle-aged / younger, again, like probably interested in games or social. That's what Meta does. And so, so I would say like it's a mixture of people who want to hang out and play, casual gamers, and younger people.
I have a slightly different answer to that.
Cool. And then we'll duke it out.
Then
As
we'll
I
fight.
thought you would.
My answer is, first of all, look at, like, if the question is who is the audience right now, like if I'm opening up my menu right now just to look at like the top 20, and like like you think about like, okay, like prison life is up there. There's 100 people there right now. Like Murder Manor, Superhero Sandbox. um I'm not going to mention the IP worlds, but there are certain worlds that, like, if you go and you look at like what's in the top 20 right now, who has over 100 visitors right now. Shout out to Squirt, because I did mention Prison Life. He's in here somewhere. But go to those worlds and see who's playing those. Like those are the that's the major audience of Horizon right now. Horizon is a UGC platform, user generated content. When you look at like what are other successful user generated content platforms in the world right now, you think about Rec Room, you think about Roblox, and you think about VR Chat. VR Chat is in hot water right now. I'm not sure what their plan is going forward. We'll see what happens to them. But right now, the most popular user generated content in the world right now is Roblox. And you know who that audience is? It's kids. It's younger users. So if I were to speculate, I would say that the younger audience is sort of like where the platform is headed, because we have an example already of a mobile first platform that exists, and who's the audience for that? It's younger kids. So you know is that the audience that I want to be making content for? Is that the audience that like I'm interested in making content for? Not really. I know like we had a brief conversation about like, okay, like what does like content for younger users look like? And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, that's not really the type of content I'm interested in making. But as a platform, we have to really look at like who is using the platform, who is in those top 20 worlds right now, actively using the platform. And I think like, and this is a complaint I hear from a ton of people, is like, I think the technical term is squealers, right?
Squeaker.
Squeakers. You're right. Sorry, I'm like 70 years old. Um, so the that when I think of like who is the target audience right now, who is like the main audience of Horizon, if I were to pick one demographic, it would be that sort of um, you know, younger crowd. I see Jen Smash as a question.
Yeah. Well, hold on. I want to
Yeah.
follow up on that real quick. 1 second. I don't agree. I don't think kids is Horizon's target audience. There's definitely a ton in here. But when you think of a target audience, you want to look at who you are working to get. If Horizon were explicitly trying to get as much of kids as possible, you would build the product differently. You would make the product more playful. You would make sure everything in the menu was only for kids. You'd make it a lot more color. Like if you literally said we want that to be our audience, you start moving more like Nickelodeon and Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Horizon strikes me as a platform that while it's full of kids, and if you have a ton of people showing up, you don't want to get rid of them. I think is trying to really push on the question of how you make it all work. You mentioned Roblox. Like Roblox has had this problem for a long time where 8 to 12-year-olds play Roblox. They get around the age of 12 and they leave the product. And so
Mm-hmm.
all of Roblox's users eventually age out. Same thing happens to the Disney Channel. Like kids just stop watching it. You don't want a user base that ages out. That's like just not a good thing. And so Roblox as a company is sitting there trying to figure out how do we get older people to play Roblox? Like you don't want just that demographic. And so if you
Mm-hmm.
look at Meta as a company with Instagram and Facebook, both of which require to be 13 and up, Meta
Right.
has already gotten billions of humans on planet Earth that are 13 and up to use their product. I would imagine it's their priority to try to make a bunch of products that further work for those people as well. So I look at it of lots of kids are using VR. That creates a huge opportunity for a set of people to create for. It gives Meta the interesting opportunity to see if they can make a product work for all of them. But I wouldn't quite say Horizon is for kids or that it's Meta's like trying to make this app for kids. It's just more of there are a lot coming in here. And that
Mm-hmm.
gives any of you an opportunity to make stuff for them if you want to. I don't want to, so I don't. If you want to, you are welcome to. Like, you know. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, Jen Smash.
Hey, so I'm concerned. So he rambled off some top 20, but when I open up my top 20, I think only one that you mentioned is in my top 20. So is it really a top 20 for the masses, or is it a top 20 for you? Because my
Sorry.
top 20 is not really
It's for
matching
you.
yours.
Yeah, they're
Oh.
not the same.
Really, I'll be honest. Like I think what I was reading off of was the highlighted world.
Oh,
Was the highlighted world. So that may have been my mistake. When I'm looking at top 20, I see
Yeah.
Spin the Bottle, I see
Let's see.
Prison Life, I see Samurai Tycoon, Super
Okay.
Rumble, Bobber Bay, Water Battling Village, Fire Battling Island, Bad Roommates. There's some Sandbox Worlds. There's some IP rips.
Do you got
Saber,
McDonald's or
Sabers,
McDonald's?
I
McDonald's?
possibly I closed my
well,
menu.
I think
Oh,
one thing
okay.
to keep in mind is Meta
Yeah.
does optimize the menu for us, just like
Okay.
everyone's Facebook and Instagram news feeds are different. And so for some parts of the menu, we might see it all the same. For other parts, we might see it all different. But I would imagine Meta's goal for the menu is that each person sees the content that is best for them. And right, we all want to see stuff that's really enticing for us. So even if they are the same now, I would imagine as time passes, they become more and more personalized.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
Okay.
so
I was
Good
just
question.
wondering, like, okay, thank you.
Mhm.
There it is. Okay, and that's our show.
Mhm.
Apparently. Right. CJ, do you have a question? You're muted. I see you running
No, I
around.
think he's in a party with burden of proof.
Oh, I see.
I don't know, just show of hands, how many of people here build worlds?
One,
Okay, cool, pretty good chunk.
two.
How many of y'all
Three.
scripters? Raise your hand if you're a scripter. Artists?
Oh yeah, you should see my art.
Yeah, if you're an artist. What if you're like kind of like MC, host, producery type? Oh, cool. All right, pretty good spread.
Burden, you're not going to raise your hand for that?
Right.
Oh, he's muted, by the way. Oh.
He is muted.
Why am I muted? I have a question.
Ask a question.
Oh, you're in the
Okay,
right
so,
place.
Speak your
This is a
truth.
place, yeah, where you can come, and if you want, you can just stand on that platform over there.
Yeah.
I'm about to go down into the box. So very recently, for whatever reason, when I republish World and try to go back into it, I get sent to this outer space climate
Okay.
type.
Any
thing.
any sort of bugs?
Yeah, just
like
don't
that,
republish
that are platform
worlds.
bugs. Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's like there's a horizon bug. Like earlier today, asset spawning just stopped working at like noon for some reason. You know, a lot of stuff like that. It's kind of like okay, that's a platform issue. The, why does that happen? Unknown.
I mean, any of you who are scripters who have made your own worlds have probably found that scripting and programming is hard. You'll very often make a change over here and you break something over there.
Mhm.
Programming an app as complex as Horizon is 1,000 or 1,000,000 times harder. Building 3D applications is a lot of work. And when you build software, you have to figure out how much time do you want to spend making sure there's no bugs, it stays good versus adding new features. And so the team at Meta has some amount of their energy spent on building some new things, some amount of their energy on just kind of making sure everything stays working. I think a person could debate, hey, it'd be nicer if they had more people working on stability. But like I guess they have clearly kind of made the ratio that they have. I think it's a little unfortunate because Horizon does feel like every release there's some random new bugs, and by the time you hope those get fixed, there's a new set, and by the time those get fixed, there's a new set, and so it just kind of feels like just kind of this slow ongoing like unbearableness. but it's also like not so terrible that you can't build. It's just kind of like it's like just like this really loud noise in the background that makes it quite a bit difficult. I hope over time they just get better and better and better at reliability and keeping things from breaking. I don't think any of us like it when stuff breaks. Um, when you break stuff, report it. It's another good reason to be on the Discord. On the Discord, you can see what other people are voting, and you can reporting, and you can upvote it. And upvoting other people's bugs is a great way to get attention to meta. And yeah, I think again, just to keep plugging it, since you mentioned some of these folks aren't in Discord, there's a bunch of the meta team on the Discord, and they read the chats and they look at bugs. And so if you have thoughts or feelings or feature requests or whatever, it is the only place where if you write something, it might get seen by the team. And it doesn't mean it always will or they always act on it, but like it's at least a good place to see where it's the only place that a conversation is happening that occasionally gets involvement from the meta team.
Mm-hmm.
And did today for what it's worth is, you know, I reported the bug where the spawning issue was happening, and a meta engineer responded. They said, we have identified that there's a problem.
It's a bug. We'll fix it. Yep.
It's a bug. We'll fix it. We think we found what the issue is. We're fixing it now. Like we're getting live updates on the fix as it was happening.
I don't want to oversell it. That's not usual. I'm just saying
that's
it's
not
a place
typical,
where you have a chance for those kind of interactions.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome.
I have a question. If I want,
you already used your question.
Well, I'm saying another one.
I'm giving here's another one. 5 more. You get a
If
free
I
sandwich.
want a certain concert that was highlighted in a while ago, the Notorious B.I.G.'s concert, how can I get them to put it back in the venue so I can have him see that show?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I mean, I think the best thing to do would be to request it on Discord.
Okay, thank you.
So in Discord, they have the Discord's broken into different channels. Like one is where they just put announcements, another is where it's all about scripting, and so one of them is bugs and requests. And so you could put in there, you know, I would like to request the ability to rewatch old content or just this one. Tell a bunch of your friends to upvote it. They can go in and click, you know, the up button, and then that's like the starting place. Again, I don't want to say that's a slam dunk, but it's always better to do something and then nothing and hope. And
thank you very much.
Well, let's talk about it. Monetization is a big topic. Is there a guideline to being monetized? Is there a certain blueprint that's followed by Meta in the picking people to be monetized? Or is it just what's the process?
There is no visibility. There is no visibility. There was one day I woke up, I got an email saying, hey, we're monetizing you. If you want to be monetized, sign this paperwork. They don't tell me why. They don't tell you why. They don't tell you what they don't give you any information about how you're selected. If I were to give advice to anyone about how to become monetized, first of all, I don't know when the next wave of monetization is going to happen. And I don't even want to speculate on that, because we have no information. There's nothing. They don't give us any information about it. We can't request other people to be monetized. We can't give them input as to that end. What I would do if you're someone who's like, I'm not monetized, but I want to be, behave in a way that is attractive to Meta. That means, number one, making retentive content that engages high numbers of users. That means not breaking the rules. You know, I know that there are like illegal gizmos that like float around. Don't
just glaze over that. Can you speak on some of these illegal gizmos that there's circulating in these worlds right now?
I don't distribute anything that we're not supposed to, and I don't speak on them. So my thing is like, if you're not supposed to have it, don't use it. And if you do use it, you're highlighting yourself as somebody that Meta can't trust to be a good partner. I don't speak for Meta. I can't speculate on what their monetization requirements are, but make yourself a person that is like, if they're looking at a list of 1,000 people and they're going to choose 10 to be monetized or 100 to be monetized, they're going to look at them. And if you're a troublemaker and if you're someone who's bending the rules, they're never going to tell you, well, we didn't pick you because we chose the rules. They're going to pick the 100 people that they think are going to be good partners.
Yeah, I think to add a few things to that, like you mentioned, just building really good content. Building awesome, amazing content that large groups of people love is the single biggest thing, because it actually means you're helping Horizon at the top, because Horizon's trying to grow. There are other things you can do, like being very active in the community, things that just add to the platform. But where Horizon is right now is it is really in a growth stage as a product. And the stuff that's going to help it grow are the big things that are visible to the most users. And so if you can build a thing that huge numbers of people want to play or use, I think is the best chance. As Habitar mentioned, it's very discretion based, or it seems to have been in the past. The way I would look at it from a higher level view is the way Meta has been operating with monetized creators so far is what I would call a talent model, right? So if you're like, I don't know, Nickelodeon or the Disney Channel or whatever, you go out and you find your talent, and then there's your talent, right? And then if someone's like, I want to be in a Nickelodeon TV show, then you're like, I don't know, Prey, right? It's not a scalable model, but like that is kind of a talent model. And I think it's very difficult because when someone says, I want in, there's not a structured process or rules or whatever. I think it made sense that Meta kind of started this place when Horizon was small and they're getting started. No company wants this to be the forever way. And so, like as Habitar said, maybe they'll do some more waves and let another N people in, and then another this many, then that many, 50 more, 100 more, whatever that number is. Who knows? But I would also think of, and we have no evidence of when this is, but like I would have to imagine at some point, and let's hope it's soon, they try to break away from this talent model. Like if you look at what a lot of other, you introduced the term UGC, user-generated content.
Yes.
If you look at what a lot of user-generated content platforms do, like YouTube or Rec Room or others, they'll basically say things more like anyone can monetize, but you have to make more than X dollars to take it back out. Like this is literally what Roblox does. Roblox does anyone can make stuff and earn Robux, but until your Robux bank account gets above this number, you can't actually have it. But it means anyone has the opportunity to try to start to use the features, to try to start to monetize, and if you succeed, that turns into real dollars. That's the kind of way where you can start to build something where it becomes accessible to everybody. There's kind of a natural ladder in. And so like I would expect at some point that's the model they use because it's what most apps would use. And so they, like you said, they might just keep adding in more discretionary people. That's completely reasonable if they do. I just hope sooner than later they move to the thing of to a model more like that, where any world can make money, and if it's above so much, you can have it.
But if they do that, how will I feel special about myself?
I'll still tell you you're special. Especially if you pay me.
Don't lie to me, Waffle. Don't lie to me.
But
These two.
But also, and like I do think there I want to frame here, there was a point, a way you said something, burden that I think is really important, which is you framed it not as how can I get monetized, but like what is the path to getting monetized. I think this is a really important distinction for anyone who does go join the Discord and wants to be part of the bigger community. Is the more you ask for stuff on behalf of yourself, the less it's usually listened to, because Horizon has a million eyes, but if done right, it can have just a few we's. And so, like, a thing I always encourage folks is when they try to participate or say things to Meta is to say, on behalf of this very large group of people, or like, whether it's, you're a game show host or like whatever your community is, to try to say, we're a community who spends a lot of time really talking to each other about what are our top asks, what are our top needs, it could be event hosts or whatever, and then try to say like, on behalf of this large group, like this is what we're looking for. And so like, the I think there's a lot of creators in Horizon who are like, how do I get monetized? A million people asking that question is just going to be a loud of noise. If you can have more people saying, Meta, can you create a path for people becoming monetized, which is more about we than I? Those are just the things that are going to work for everybody and scale better. And so for anyone who's seen me around the Discord or spent time with me, one of my biggest beliefs is as a community, the fewer requests all of us can have, the more leverage we actually have to say stuff to Meta. If we're 1,000 people asking for 1,000 things, we're just going to have a different relationship with Meta than if there's like 2 or 3 things hundreds of us want. And so actually taking the time to build those coalitions, get to clarity, debate, like if you only had one more thing for the rest of the year, like what would it be? Those conversations help us voice to Meta more succinctly, hey, it's not 5,000 things we want. Really want just like these 2 things. And I would imagine a lot of the community probably wants a path to monetization. I'm just guessing. But if that is the case, I would encourage folks like in the Discord and everywhere else to just make that your refrain. So like, if you suddenly be like, oh, I want these 10 features, just taking a second to pause and say, do you want them more than monetization? Because if you start fighting for those, you just make the conversation more ambiguous.
Yeah.
And so it's easier. You can still file them and say, hey, here's 10 features I want. But then you can literally put in the message, but I wouldn't want these before monetization. Like the more we can frame, I want X more than Y, and the more it's unanimous, I think it's just a higher likelihood Meta would listen. I think if at some point you had a lot of people who want all the same thing and you don't listen, you're maybe crazy.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Gail,
Burden.
yes, sir.
And that's my favorite percent.
Yeah.
Hey, Habiter. Hey, Waffle.
Gail.
So I had a question for people that are new, and we've seen a lot.
Oh, well,
a
there's
lot
none
of
up here,
influx of
so.
new. Yeah. Well, the new is all around us, is the thing.
Yeah.
And I guess the question I would have, you were speaking of Discord, you were speaking of a while back we were all talking about the
Live
the
journal
stuff you're not allowed to have
I
that floats around and all that.
Yeah.
So the question I would have for a newcomer is like, how do they navigate to even know information outside of asking questions in the live community, being in here? Like, how would someone even know what wouldn't be allowed to be used as when you're in creating? Like if you're gathering things like, I don't know, the mirror or something like that, how would you even know that would
if it is something that is not in your gizmo menu? Then if it's something that you don't have access to, that somebody else is giving to you, then it's not something that you're supposed to have access to. It's one of those things where like if you can't pull a mirror out of your menu and somebody gives you a copy of a mirror through like the asset library, you have something that you're not supposed to have. And I think that like understanding that there is, early access things, and that there is like a sort of like different levels of access or different levels of like beta testing, understanding that exists. Like if I were just some random Joe Schmo who just downloaded the app and got on and I like went into create mode and somebody dropped those in there for me, I don't know that I would question it, because you're right. I wouldn't have been taught that I'm not supposed to have those things. Right. But I mean, that's just another reason to really engage with the Discord, engage with the Facebook groups, engage in the community.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add a few more thoughts there. Like, if someone gives you a mirror and you end up using it and you didn't know, like, I don't think Meta's running around being like, oh, this one person did one semi-gray area thing, excommunicated. Like, I don't think it's like, I wouldn't be super afraid or walking on eggshells. But I think a more important thing is, rather than be worried about making a mistake, I would instead be focused on proactively being a positive contributor, whatever that means, right? And so when you come in, just like it's like going to another country, right? Just starting to learn, like, what are the kind of norms here? Like, how do people generally operate? What are the, unspoken customs? And, the thing, if you go to build a world, building a world usually takes hundreds and hundreds of hours. And so, like, my kind of thinking is if you're going to go spend 300 hours building a world, you can spend 10 hours, like, thinking through before you publish it. Right, like, yeah, whether and that should be some mixture of having people test it, preparing your marketing, checking your performance with the instance being full. And so, like, it goes back to my comment earlier of don't just treat it like a random hobby. Of if a person wants to create here and be a strong contribution to Horizon, just, it's like almost being like a kid and just asking questions of like, you know what feature is this? Does everyone have this feature? Are there any gotchas? And just kind of have that curiosity. It's like if you were walking into the grocery store and you pass someone who opens their trunk of their car and was like, yo, you want to buy some steak knives? You'd probably be like, that's a little bit weird. And so if you're in build mode and someone's like, let me give you these gizmos you don't actually have on your own, you should at least be like, why don't I have those? And so it's just kind of a curiosity. And so again, I want to like remove the fear and be like, don't be afraid. Meta's going to like just trample you for one kind of mistake of a social faux pas, but more of it's how can you see yourself as a social just contributor to the Horizon writ large. And so I would encourage folks to join the Discord, and if it starts spiraling out with trolls, try to like simmer it down. Or if you see people making a feature request but it's not well worded, like help them word it better. And like just if you imagine like this is your community neighborhood and you see a trash bag on the ground, please pick it up and throw it away. Like a big part about Horizon is if this is a social place you care about, the social places only work because all of its members protect their sanctity. And so even if we have our own corner of Horizon, however big it is, I just encourage everyone, if you're doing your best to make the part of Horizon that matters the most to you the best as possible, and you're building really good content, and you're listening to your users, and you're optimizing what they want, and you're just trying to like, rising tide rises all ships, like that's a pretty good place to start. And then in the near term, if you're trying to like crush it, you just want to build content that goes to the biggest audiences. And I build I build puzzles. You play them once and you're done. I'm very well aware that if I tried to make a bunch of games that you play every day, all day long, I could have more users and be a lot higher up in the menu. And, like I said, Horizon's my hobby. I'm not trying to make this my full-time monetization. And, but like if I were, I might have to go do a different thing. And so, I guess actually I'll make a quick comment there. I would encourage folks just to go on a little rant here for a second. Actually, my name contains the word rant, so I'm required to do it at least twice a day. I've seen a lot of creators who seem to get stuck or lost in life because they aren't clear on what their goals are. And so they end up chasing things like status, fame. It just like they just like oscillate around because they don't know what matters to them. And the analogy I always make is if you opened a bakery because you love to bake, and then right next to you a dance club opens up and they have more people than you, would you like turn your bakery into a dance club? I don't think most bakeries would say the dance club gets more foot traffic, therefore I'm changing the business. Usually the reason they opened the bakery because there's some deep part of who they are where they enjoy baking and they want to be a part of that. And so I think one thing that is important to being a creator on Horizon is understanding truly who are you trying to provide something for and what is that thing you're trying to provide. If you don't have a clear answer to that, then every time you look at the menu, you just kind of like feel awkward of like, if I made stuff like that, I might do better. Or if I went after younger users, I might be more popular. Or if I copied worlds from other games, and it's like, if you feel all of those questions oscillating around in your head, it's because you don't have a clear answer of who you want to be as a creator. It's like, I want to make the best puzzles I can. And I know that deep inside. So when I see a world with 1,000 users in it right now, that's a cool game. I look at that and I'm proud for them. I'm happy for them. I don't feel any pressure to chase them because they're not making really cool puzzles. But I know that feeling of ego, fame, status, money. Money is very, very important. But also keep in mind, like, have a clear goal and then be aware of how much your struggles might be because your goal is actually unclear. If you want to make the best content in Horizon, go learn how to program, learn how to do game design, make a really big game, user test the hell out of it, like like that's what's at the top. But if your goal is not to make the top most popular content, because chase your heart, and that's okay if the thing you want to build only has 10 users. Like, know your goal.
Yeah. And if I can just piggyback off that and just speak from
here, okay, come on, jump on.
Speaking from I guess a talk show, if you will, standpoint and things like that. There are a lot of podcasts and things to that nature that are within this space that generate a lot more of a crowd and things to that nature. And an audience, if you will, based on the type of content that they produce or that they display on a weekly basis. And like he said before, just understanding who you are as a person and what you're trying to pursue. And me personally, in regards to what I wanted this to be, in regards to something consistent and ever evolving, was the content that I brought to the table. From my standpoint, I always wanted. Of course, I looked at. There was a time I actually came to a crossroad, like, well, I can do that, but is that something that I really want to do? And that's something that's really embedded in my heart to do and be consistent with. And I chose the latter, to be consistent, like the Wafflecopter just spoke on, just knowing who you are as a person and what you want to portray and what you want to exude, if you will, within this space. And no, I don't want to make a dance studio. I like my bakery. So yeah, we're gonna.
I like it too.
Yeah,
Burden,
I appreciate it.
I have time for one more question before I have to cut out tonight.
Got you. Well,
I'm
can I
not going
ask
anywhere,
it?
so.
Can I ask it? Can
Waffle's
I
not
ask
going
it
anywhere.
real quick? Can I ask
Yeah.
it real quick? Primitive shapes is a mainstay. I'm almost positive. Tri-mesh is something that, if I'm not mistaken, only monetized users have access to right now. Twofold question: will there ever be any more shapes added to primitive shapes? And two, will there be a situation where tri-mesh will be available for people that aren't monetized? Or, and then in addition to that, is there something greater than tri-mesh that's on the horizon?
Quad mesh.
Yeah.
Pentamesh.
Listen. Answer to question number one. Do I think that there were and I'll tell you, I'm going to preface this by saying this is total speculation on my part. I have no actual information about it.
Gotcha.
So this is me making a guess.
Mhm.
Number one, do I think that there will be more primitive shapes added? Probably not. I think that that's unlikely. I know that there used to be, I think in the original version of Horizon Worlds, there were actually more primitive shapes that they actually removed. So I think it's unlikely that they ever add any more primitive shapes than what already exists. Do I think that Tri-Mesh will eventually be released to a wider audience? Again, total speculation. I have not gotten any information through any of my channels about whether this is true or not. So don't take my word for it. Don't bet the farm on this. But my guess is that it probably will be, and the reason I make that guess is I look at other user generated content models like Roblox and see that they have, like, that's their model, is that everybody has access to those sorts of tools. I think those tools are still being developed on Horizon. Horizon is a much younger platform. So do I know when those tools will be available to everybody? No idea. But I speculate that A, we will not get more primitive shapes, and B, that someday in the future, whenever that is, there will be like wider access to Tri-Mesh. But I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. A different perspective on that. I actually do think quite differently about this. In terms of there being more primitives, I do think there's a real possibility more primitives get added, a lot more features like that get added. But there's a big question of when. In terms of Tri-Mesh, of course, at some point, everyone is going to have Tri-Mesh. Like it's, if you look at Facebook and Instagram, like look at the company who's making this stuff. Everyone has access to all the tools to publish on those platforms. You look at the Quest store, anyone can technically publish an app on the Quest Store. And so, given that this is Meta, and just the way they work, I would have to imagine that their vision for Horizon is like anyone has the tools and can make stuff. Now, again, there's a when. Like, so if you were to start talking about like when I fast forward very far into the future, I imagine Horizon, the Metaverse, you're making AAA quality games. You're making casual stuff as a hobby on a weekend. That stuff lives side by side. You have big games and meetup spaces and classrooms and bars and like on Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp and Messenger, you find all the things. Like Meta is a company that builds the social products that allows humans to try to be social in all of the ways they want to, as long as they're legal, right? Like that's what Meta does.
Right. Yeah.
And so I have to imagine their vision for the metaverse is like whatever you're imagining, as long as it's like morally good, it's like, yeah, Meta wants that. It's just like things take time to build. When do they get there? And so when you're saying like no primitives get added, I think the way I would tweak that is I would imagine everybody has access to TriMesh before more primitives were added, like just in terms of like a sequence of things. The reason why I think that is the VR tools in Horizon have not been evolving at a rapid rate. Like it's not like, oh, every release there's a ton of new features. Like the VR tools seem relatively kind of stable, I guess is the word I could use, except for all the bugs.
Not to cut you off, I do have to drop. I'm so sorry. Burden, thank you so much for having me. Everybody check out Plants.
Everyone check out Plants, yep.
Hold on. Before you go ahead, say Habit or let them know.
Check out Plants. Plants.
All right. Audrey too.
If Rocky Horror Picture Show would like to
no, that's Little Shop of Horrors.
I'm sorry, if Little Shop of Horrors, I mean either one, honestly. Either one. If Little Shop of Horrors, which I actually just saw that live at the Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis. Lovely show. Highly recommend. If they want to do a collaboration with me, I'm open anytime. They can reach out. So anyways,
well, let the people know how to contact you before you get out of here.
I don't want them contacting me. Do you know how many calls I get every day?
Probably about 100.
Yeah, we don't want to contact you.
You can find me username Habiter. Find me on Discord. Search Habit XR on Facebook. Habiter on Instagram.
Just change the O to an X.
Just change the O to the X. You can find us at habitxr.net. Or just search Plants in your world search menu, and hopefully it shows up. Discovery's been a little funky lately. So all right, folks, thank you so much for having me. Sorry I gotta cut out.
No worries. Thank you, sir. Thank you for spreading some wisdom.
But I really appreciate it.
See ya. Be safe.
See ya. We're fun of that.
Yeah. Okay. So to add to that thought, so like even zooming back a second, I think there's a good question of why did Meta start working on TriMesh, or why do they add TriMesh? I remind folks that this was not my decision. I don't work for Meta. I'm just trying to, as an external observer, figure out why you would do a TriMesh. So the InVR building tools, have been evolving at a relatively slow rate, is what I would say. And so I think all of us who build in the VR tools would love a lot more primitives, and maybe a pen drawing tool and a tube tool and a hole cutting tool and a way to upload and add our own textures. Like we could sit here all day brainstorming all the millions of features we want. Right. And so, then the Horizon team probably looked at it and said, how many engineers, how long does it take to add that massively long list of features? Or we just let people build stuff in apps that have all of the features and bring them in. Now that means that if you're building in Blender or Maya or whatever, you're not building in VR. That's a big shift. And so that's maybe not the best, but with the added benefit of suddenly you have all the tools you could want and more, right? So that's the kind of trade-off. And so I imagine the conversation for TypeScript went very similarly of adding a ton of code blocks and scripting features takes a really long time. What if we just let you use an existing programming language that just gives you all the features at once? Right. And so I would imagine for something like TriMesh, their goal is to get it stable and evened out enough that they can give it to everybody, get it working, and then that opens the door to cool. Now you can build content in any tool you want and bring it in. So at least you have the opportunity to make it look however you want. And then maybe one day in the future they'll say, cool, but we understand building in VR is like fun and really exciting and social. And so maybe they will add a lot more tools there. And so my belief is the reason TypeScript and TriMesh became a main focus is it's a much faster, shorter path to them to be able to allow people to have access to thousands of more features faster than they could build them their own. But of course, it means like now you're importing from outside and whatever. And so I would expect you do see those increase in the number of people. I don't know when. I really hope it's soon. Um, the And then yeah, I hope at some point things get good enough that they really start adding a ton more features to building in VR. Uh, I think a lot of us building in VR is where our love for the system is, and wish there were a million features more there. And it's a bummer there aren't. And so hopefully they start adding more one day. You know, who knows? But like again, they're trying to build the metaverse, which means if you can imagine it at some point, it's probably possible. It's just a question of when. Um, there are a few things that like strategically they might not want to do, but most things they probably want to eventually do.
Got you. Well, one more question before we get out of here, because I know
Okay.
I'm on borrowed time with you guys. Um, w- what do you see the future for Horizon World? What does the future look like?
Hmm, a lot more person asking the cues,
I
speaking their
hope so.
truths. Um, the, I mean, I one of the reasons I spend, there's all these different UGC apps: VR Chat Rec Room, Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite. Like, so there's a question of like, okay, so why do I choose Horizon? Um, and the thing that excites me about Horizon is, Facebook and Instagram, while not perfect, have offered a lot of people a lot of ways to connect in different ways. They're tools that enable people to find their group, or to, if they're a business, to find your customers, or if you're just have a hobby, to find the other people. And I think the power that social networks have to bring people together is amazing. And so I love the idea of Horizon Worlds appearing in Facebook, appearing in Instagram, and you being able to use those tools to build and gather an audience, and go live, and just have like, to me, the key word I always have in my head is an immersive social network. A social network you go in, and you explore. And I think there should be a world where you have games, and you have churches, and you have talk shows and game shows and classrooms, and funerals, and whatever it can be, where people who either are like, the power of this platform is you get to cheat physics, right? We're all
Yes,
on
sir.
different parts of the planet right now, and we get to just like lie about it right now. We're like, nope, screw you, physics. We're not that far apart. Or change gravity. Like sometimes we literally change physics by making a world where like we fly, or other times just being here present right now allows us to go against the constraints of reality. And so I think doing that to build a business, build a game, build a community, or whatever, I think is what Horizon's trying to do. And you let people monetize and sell goods and come together and just like do all of the things we do on other social networks and in real life. And I think between here and there, I expect it's very likely Horizon continues to keep really focusing on games a lot. Um,
Mm,
you probably notice there's more and more of the menu as games and all of that. The
right.
reason why is games are one of the few things a bunch of strangers will do with each other safely. And you put a
Mm.
bunch of random people and you say, start talking to who the hell knows what happens, right? But if you say, hey, we don't know each other, let's spread out a little bit and just kind of run around and, I don't know, collect sheep or some stuff. Like, turns out a bunch of strangers will play together, and it's usually meaningful and effective. And no matter how introverted or extroverted you are, you'll do it.
Right.
There's like, I think like only two things all humans will do, which is like play games and watch trashy reality TV, right? Like those are the only two things that like all of us do. It's mostly a joke, but so because you might build a one game that everyone plays a bit. It's
Mm-hmm.
harder to make one talk show everyone wants to attend, or one class everyone wants to take. And so games are just these big things that you build at once, you play a million times. And so because they have that opportunity, I expect Horizon to keep really pushing on them, up leveling them, celebrating them, monetizing them, making features for them. That does not mean their vision is this is an app of only games. It means a huge focus on games is a critical part of how they get to their long-term vision, which will be an app that contains a lot of games, sure, but like the other things too. It's why I think they embrace all of the stuff in here that is other content. Like it's exciting to have it. It's a cool squint of the future. It might not be the stuff that helps the platform grow immediately, but it is like where it's gonna get to eventually. So yeah.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks.
Before we get out of here, please let the people know how they can. Well, I'm not sure. Yes, if you can disclose some type of way people can get in contact with you if they have more questions regarding Meta Horizon World, if you will.
Yeah, just right past the stop line on the blue house. No, in Horizon or Discord or Facebook, on any of those, if you type in Wafflecopters with an S, you can find me. I generally respond pretty quickly, or try to. And yeah, if you have any questions, just send me a message, and that's how you get a hold of me. You can find all of my worlds in Horizon if you go to Waffle World. That's just my hub that has all my doors.
Zap Zap is one of my favorite. He's an icon within this space. He does so much for this community. Man, what hasn't he done? He's given classes for scripting. You name it, he's done it. He's one of the wizards. I call him a wizard within this space. And I'm definitely appreciative of him giving his time at a moment's notice whenever I ask for it. And I really appreciate you, man. Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Thanks for having me here.
Always. Thank you for coming through and shedding some information. And hopefully it was enough information for you guys to hold on to and just think about in regard to your pursuits, if you will, whatever you're trying to accomplish within the space, whether it's trying to be a household name, so to speak, within the world that you create, monetize or things of that nature. Whatever it is, hopefully you got enough information to give you a little bit more steam and recharge yourself and go right back at it in build mode. So again, I want to say thank you guys for coming through and showing support. Skitter, what's happening, sir? Oh my God. Utterly high. Hi. I see all y'all out here. Shay, Queen, what up? What up? I appreciate you guys for coming through as always, man. And be ready for tomorrow. If you're gonna watch it live stream, Little C's will be on Horizon Squares. He will be here next week on the 31st. And yeah, just
I got a quick announcement on that actually, real quick, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So shout out to Gem Smash and her people. They're actually gonna be donating a ticket to Ask the Q Speak the Truth next Wednesday for Lil C's, and we're gonna do a little trivia at Horizon Squares. So we're gonna have a trivia question at the beginning of the show, and then if you guys can answer it on our Instagram or Horizon Squares Instagram, whoever answers it first will then get a free ticket sponsored by Gen Smash to Ask the Q Speak the Truth next Wednesday. So make sure y'all follow both of our Instagrams. You know, stay tuned for that trivia question, and then you guys can get a free ticket to Burton's show next week. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate that information, sir. Appreciate you. Well, there you guys have it. Divine, you got anything before we get out of here, man?
Subscribe, like, and follow Lux Vision Studios on all platforms. Thank you.
And there we go. Shout out Lux Vision Studios, CJ and Fire Divine. I'm gonna hear it because I ain't go to commercial today, but I'm gonna tell them why when we get off air. But again, thank you guys. Pierre, what up, big time? Hey, Pierre been with me since day one, man. We've been in this Horizon thing for a minute. So my guy right there. Again, I appreciate you guys. Hi, Goddess.
I have one quick comment.
Go ahead, Waffle. What's happening, sir?
If anyone wants to play test an escape room working on, I can take 3 people. right now. It involves rocks and magnets. So if that sounds familiar, please don't come. You've already played it.
I better hurry up and get that, y'all.
Hey, well, there you
y'all,
go.
for
There's the
real. Y'all
invite
better
to you
hurry
puzzle
up.
guys.
Y'all
I
better
can take
hurry up
three.
and get that.
If you
For
want to
real.
come stand around me. I can take
2 of
three
those
people.
spaces have been taken, so there's only one left.
Hey,
But
Come
no,
stand here if you want
it's
it.
been
so.
fun.
Hey, we're gonna do it right after this picture. We out of here. Appreciate you guys coming through. Enjoy this space, man. Enjoy this Horizon world. Enjoy this metaverse, man. Because life is short. You know what I'm saying? Take advantage of every opportunity that we have to better ourselves as human beings, whether it's in real life or within this Horizon world metaverse, man. This is Ask the Q Speak the Truth. I am Burden of Proof, and we are gone. Everybody, come on down here so we can take this picture, please, real quick. Let's go. Y'all know what we doing. Let's go. P, what up,
bro?
baby?
What's good, bro?
Still grinding,
Y'all filming the show now?
We just got done, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's live streaming.
Hi, I'm Jen Smash, and I'm here at VIP Entrepreneur Academy, where this is a world that you can learn how to start a business. For all you entrepreneurs who want to learn how to start a business, this is the ideal place to learn in the metaverse. This is a 9-week course where we go ahead and dissect every section of a business, from understanding your customer and industry to creating your budget for payroll and even taxes. We break down what is the requirements for you to have a successful business. So if you're ready to become an entrepreneur and want to learn the ropes, VIP Entrepreneur is ready to take in new students just like you. You can contact me at vipentrepreneur@gmail.com. See you at the next.
Awesome. God bless everybody. I'm so glad, amen, that everything is finding you well, and I pray it's finding you well. This is Pastor Johnny live from our sanctuary here in the Metaverse at Word of Grace Meta Church. I want to invite you out to our service here on Sunday nights for worship and the Word, now streaming through Lux Vision Studios. So excited about that and what God is doing in this space and place. See you Sunday. God bless you.
I can't wait. I'm gonna kick the door in. Fuck that. Somebody let me in. Word.